a huge convention. And it's official. We're live. We are live. We got our guest tonight is Janelle Moss, the general manager of Blue Skies Bookkeeping. I almost said Blue Skies Services, but it's like Blue Skies Bookkeeping. And
well, technically, it is services.
That's what I thought. I was like, isn't it both?
It is
and John
both.
Kay out in Pennsylvania, co-host tonight from Pennsylvania. I said that. So cool. Janelle, thanks for joining us live. It's good to see you.
I love to talk about bookkeeping all day long. So let's get to it.
I'm glad that somebody else
did that. Cool. I'm going to call back. I'm going to call back to earlier tonight on a different live stream. We're talking about delegation, and one of the first things I ever delegated was bookkeeping, because I had this crazy moment where, like, I do not like paperwork. I don't like data entry. I like to go sell it, go do it, and let somebody else clean up the mess. But I was doing my own bookkeeping, and it was horrible. Like, it was like I did a terrible job. It was not accurate, and I hated it. So, like, the trifecta of doom. And I met like a good friend of ours. Their daughter was going to school and was in accounting classes and was going to be an accountant. And I was like, would you be interested in this? She's like, oh my God, that sounds so exciting. I love doing data entry and doing books. And I'm like, you're insane. But I couldn't believe that somebody actually loved the thing that drove me crazy. And now you just said it a second ago. You're like, I love doing books. I just love doing this. Tell me about that. How's that possible?
You don't hate it, Sid. You only think you hate it because you were doing the actual physical parts of it. But you love knowing your cost of goods sold and how much money you're making and where the money's being made, right? So that's the fun part for me, is coaching business owners to find the tools to realize I make way more money at this job than that job, and I had no idea my cost was whatever. And I have horrible employee turnover because I can't do performance pay because I don't know my cost of goods. So I love putting those systems in place and giving them the tools to really elevate to the next level. That's my jam.
Right. And that's just, you said it so well. And it's so true. It's like, as a business owner, I can make much better decisions if I understand my numbers. If I know where I stand, if I know what it costs, I can do a lot better.
Yeah. And if you don't want to enter your checking stuff, don't do it. Pay somebody to do it, but you need the bookkeeping either way, right? And if you're not doing it, you have that. I hear people all the time say, I have doom, anxiety, and I'm flying blind in my business. I don't know if I can pay my people. I look at my bank account to see if I have money. And that's how I know. And that's luck running your business, and you don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah, that is winging it. And
what is the term for that? Bank account bookkeeping or something like that, right?
I mean, and we've had clients from small to in the multi-millions with a wall of Post-its saying this is our bookkeeping system. And it's like one wind in their business, they can't put it back together. It's crazy. My God. So I just love taking all that and getting it into a bundle where it's really usable.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Years ago, I used to struggle with doing my own bookkeeping, sucked at it, and I would file my own taxes, sucked at it. And I did it for my S Corp as well. And like struggle. And so one year I was like, this is dumb. But so I tracked my time. It took me 42 hours of anxiety driven time to do my own tax return. And I was like, oh my God, Sid, that is so dumb. I have 42 hours of, at the time I was in the field window cleaning. I'm like, I can make $6,000, but I was wasting all that time and hating it. And then the next year we got an accountant, and I remember I was like, oh my God, it's going to be expensive. Cut a check for $1,700. It was the happiest day in bookkeeping world or in accounting world, because I knew it was done right and somebody else was accountable, and I didn't have to worry about it. It was like, that was cheap.
And you're not even mentioning the cost of your relationship, right? Like, you're married. What was that like with your wife when you were doing that? You're probably crabby about it. Your kids, I don't buy it. Your kids are stressed out. You're yelling at it. Like, that doesn't feel good. So we want you to feel great about your numbers and know you're going to roll in at tax time. You're going to not even email your accountant anything, because they're here at Blue Skies. We have a CPA who's going to take care of everything for you. It's all in-house. And then you're just ready to go. We're going to say, here's your refund or send this money. Hopefully it's about a wash because you did some pre-planning with our guy, Stefan Silva. So we would love that for everybody.
Yeah. So you're speaking at the huge convention at a breakout session, and it's all about, it is the huge convention for home services, as you can see.
Yeah.
And so the thing that I love about Blue Sky is I've been a client for, I think, 6 years now. It's been a while. It's at least 5. Is that you're like, it took a minute to get it set up because your guy had to ask me questions because I had my stuff all garbled up, but it took him just a couple of weeks to get it straightened out. But you guys specialize in home services, and you're not just looking at one guy's books. You look at hundreds and hundreds of people's books. So you understand what's the industry norm, where should the percentage be for COGS and things like that. But you also know how to set up. I mean, the chart of accounts is already done, and you go, let's do best practices. Nobody's making this up. Let's get you on the right foot. I love that. When somebody jumps in or comes into Blue Sky, it's like, what's their expectation? How long does it take to get them straightened out? What do they need to do?
I mean, it depends how long they've been doing their own. If they've been doing their own a good while, it's usually a bit of a train wreck. Not always, but sometimes. And it also depends on if they're in arrears tax-wise. We've had people who, need to have us go back 3 years and get things put together. That takes a little longer, but if you're on top of it and you get us your stuff, it can be easily within a month. You're current operating with a solid P&L in your hand every month, so that you can pay out bonuses to your team. We have some people who do COGS weekly reporting, and that's really awesome because when you tie your performance pay to your manager's, weekly payroll and what's been done in the field, that's a reinforcement, right? Like, I did great. I want more of this money that I just made for all of us. So performance pay of everybody winning together, you can't do that as quickly as you need to if you don't have your bookkeeping done weekly. So we are super passionate about getting your cost of goods in line and knowing exactly where your percentages should be. And then we have some awesome reporting that has visual as well as a spreadsheet, because we've also learned that people don't want to look at numbers. It's much easier for our owners and operators to, generally speaking, look at a graph or a chart and get the info. We give it to you both ways so that you can get as detailed as you want to be. You get a 10,000 foot view that's going to show you exactly where you're on target, where you're off. And we want you to look at it every month because it's so much easier to do a course correct when you start to go off, right? If you wait 6 months and you're like, well, crap, that really went the wrong direction, it's much harder to put it back. So it takes something from you, but it's looking at a report every month and then deciding, geez, what should I do with this information? Yeah.
So yes, you said that. What should I do with this information? What are business owners missing out on? What decisions are they not making or not able to make because they don't know their numbers?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one thing that's huge is turnover. If you're not doing performance pay and getting everybody, rewarded that deserves to be rewarded, then people who are doing the hardest work and getting paid the same as others are going to go out the door. That's a basic one. I always bring everybody back to the fundamentals. Check your subscriptions all the time because they, you sign up for a trial of whatever. Do you have the lowest version of the subscription? Because that'll really eat into your pocket. Another one is, what are you doing that you need to stop doing that you've done for a long time? So like advertising is a really great example. And I love our reporting because you can put the investment buckets next to exactly what it did to your sales for that month. So you can see if you made a huge investment in advertising or even a small investment, if you didn't get a sales spike, you probably don't want to do that again and you need to stop. So it can sometimes be about where you should stop putting money instead of where you should put it. And so we just want you to look at it, be aware of where your money is going all the time. So every month in our newsletter, you're going to get something that you should do, check on, look at, so that you're always kind of cycling through and paying attention to just one thing a month so that it's been checked and you can kind of let it fly for a while. You're not going to shop around for workers' comp insurance every month because that's a nightmare and horrible. It sucks your soul, but you also don't want to pay huge rates, right? So we're going to remind you once a year, hey, have you checked out Frank Crum? They have really great rates or whatnot.
Wow. Okay. So you want to hear the irony, John? You probably won't be surprised. I've been your client for 5 or 6 years, and
Yep.
I'm learning stuff that I didn't know.
Well, do you read the emails? Do you read our texts?
I get them and I go like, yep. Usually I check, I just, like I'll click and open the report, and I don't look at the reminder that says, hey, it'd be a good idea to, like audit or shop out your insurance, or the reminders of things to do. That's an added benefit that I literally glossed over in the ADD business mind.
Yeah. I mean, you have to read it. We try to get our first sentence of the newsletter every month is like, it has to be right to the point, because you guys are busy and you don't read email, and I don't blame you, but you got to read it. You have to do your part because it's your business, and we care so much about it, but nobody's ever going to care about your business as much as you do. Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, cool. Did you see me making notes? I'm like, oh shit. Oh my God. Really?
I'll call you.
I'm going to
call
start.
you this week and let you know.
I have to go back through all the emails and then read all the tips and go, what? And you're like, dude, you could have saved $8,000 if you just read the email.
It's possible. It's possible. Well, if you need to have a time with me, I would love to run through your books and save you some cash. We actually just offered that to everybody at Blue Skies. So if you need to hang out with me for a bit and kick around some ideas, I know sales have been a little harder for some clients this year. The economy is all over the news with the election, and it's like, I can't do anything about that, but I can look at your books and help you out.
Okay, so I'll be a little bit transparent and reveal this. Our sales are up significantly this year. We're about 60% up for year over year, and that was our goal, which is really nice to be on track for your target. But at the same time, I do a cursory glance at our numbers, and I look and I go, I've got this much in receivables. I've got this much in the bank. We've done this much in sales. Where's my money? And I struggle with that. I'm like, I don't. And I look at the P&L and I go, okay. It says I'm profitable, but I'm like, I feel like I'm missing $100,000. I'm probably not, but I just go, we've done all this. We had our best month in the history of our company in June of last year or this year, and I like, where's my money? So I need a note to Sid, call Janelle, get on the schedule, go over stuff, and help me work some things out so I can start paying better attention.
100%. And we have things show up year over year, so that helps see your patterns too.
Okay. Well, cool. When somebody comes to your breakout session at the huge convention, what are they going to take away from that?
We're going deep into cost of goods sold. What does it mean? What's in there? Why is it valuable? What's not cost of goods sold? And what is not cost of goods sold is typically things that are investing back into your business. So it's really important to be able to figure out if you have a return on stuff that's not in your cost of goods sold. And so we have some different buckets we put that in, and we'll show you how you can decide if the investments you made were good or not. Google Ads is a great example because you can spend $1 gajillion on that. A lot of times they work really well. And then also sometimes they're horrible. Another one to look at is just your admin in the office or your staff that isn't cost of goods isn't out doing. So we're going to give you some tools to make decisions about all that.
Okay. So it got a little choppy, but you said you're going to give us better tools to make better decisions. You're talking about cost of goods, advertising, and a few other things.
Yep.
It did chop out for a minute. I want to make sure people don't miss that.
Oh, yep, for sure. So just
hey, John, it's choppy.
This is mainly going to be on if you're making money off the job.
Yeah. I'm going to, oh, she hopped out. I was going to say, I'm going to hop out for a second and come back in and see if we can clean up the stream. So it's a little less choppy. So you've seen Forrest Gump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
When he's speaking at the mall and he goes, and he's talking, and then he says that the microphone cuts out, and then it comes back on. He says, "That's all I have to say about that." And I'm like, I missed the gold. That's what I felt like. It was a chop.
Yeah, right.
I need to hear that. That's exactly the thing I've been waiting for.
Right.
Cool. I'm going to click out to preserve the stream, will you bring Janelle back in and
Absolutely.
ask her?
Sorry, Sid, you clicked out before you told me what to ask her. You pulled the Forrest Gump on me.
Hey guys, sorry.
That's okay. Just we chopped out, you dropped out, and we just recapped the last thing you said. Pick up where you left off, so people can get
Oh
the
yeah,
goal.
for sure. So just having an admin or those day-to-day office expenses are a place where expenses can really run out of control. So just deciding like, is it worth this or that to be spending money in this way? Because investment in your business is no different than investment anywhere else, but you need to be sure that you can tell if you're getting a return or not, because you wouldn't keep playing the stock market if you lost every time, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's so, I know for me personally, there's been, until we actually got consistent reporting on our books, we're totally flying blind. We had no idea. There's no historical data. You know, like Sid said earlier, we're making money, but it feels like we're not, but we are. I don't know where things at. And
yeah,
the marketing side too is a big thing for us, right? Because you can, like you said, you can spend $1 gajillion on Google, but is it really paying off? So having that data is super helpful.
Yeah, so we just want to put things in a format where so it's very easy to see the result of the decision that you made. So that's really our jam, is just getting it so that it's very decisionable and actionable with just an easy look at your data. Because we know you don't want to spend hours on your spreadsheets and things, and we don't want to either. So we have it all just like auto-populate, and it's magic. We call it the easy button.
Love that. Love it. So where do you think the biggest, from what you've seen working across so many other service companies, where's the biggest like aha that companies that you work with, is there a specific area of the ahas that service companies find when you sort of reveal what their books are telling them?
I think for many business owners, it's totally different than what they're expecting to see, because they didn't have a solid system. They haven't put all the pieces of their puzzle together. So often they're not even sure, is this vehicle supposed to be on my balance sheet? Is it my personal vehicle? What's happening with that? So just things like that, getting all of the debt within a business put together with it, because it's easy when you start something as a side hustle that grows. I think Sid has one of my favorite stories on a business that was kind of a side hustle or a startup. It's like when you start, you don't know anything. Everything's in your personal name. And then it gets to be time to like roll over to S Corp. And that's where it really gets fun to scale a business, because you start to be eligible for some different tax savings, and you're scaling and adding employees and things like that. So that's when it gets really important to know your costs and to cut back on running your personal stuff through the business, because you're starting to take it super seriously and grow.
Yeah. So one thing you mentioned earlier was about the taxes and making sure, like, the end of the year, like, hopefully you planned out enough and you don't have to write that big check, right? We felt the pain of that years ago, unfortunately. Of the accountant we were working with was like, oh, you guys have been sort of saving money, right? Because you had a really good year and you're going to have a big tax bill. And we're like, no, we're new to this, right? We don't know what we're doing. Why would you tell us now? This is October.
It's a horrible surprise, right? And you're ready to spend money on Christmas, and you're like, sorry, kids, Grinch took Christmas this year.
Yeah. So why don't you talk a little bit about how the planning aspect of it comes into play once you have data to work off of, as it relates to tax?
For sure. Well, we try to get everyone to keep a really solid eye on their P&L, because there's a couple income thresholds where it's like, once you hit this, you should look at if you're ready to be an S Corp or not for the savings on payroll taxes there for yourself. But we do have a CPA that is in-house now, and he's amazing. He has given us the ability to not only spread the cost of a tax return and a tax planning package over the course of the year with the bookkeeping, which I think is awesome, because nobody wants to come out of Christmas and kind of go into that season and have to pay a tax bill, especially in home services, where it's like your business probably isn't fully active at that time of year. Depends where you are geographically. Some places it's warmer and our clients go all year, but up north, I'm in Minnesota, and they slow down a lot in the winter, or they do Christmas lights. But Anyways, it's great to spread that expense out. And with that, you get a tax planning package where you get an opportunity to meet with him a couple of times a year, talk about where you're at, what your goals are. If you want to go personal or you have multiple businesses or investment properties, you can talk about all that and really have a solid plan going into tax time. We don't want you to go buy stuff just because you made money, to dump cash at the end of the year. But we want to talk about things that are really smart, like prepaying for things that you were going to get anyways into the next year, or, definitely get another rig if you were going to do that anyways, because you need it for growth. So just being super intentional about that money because you worked really hard to get it and we want it to be in your pocket.
That's really helpful, I think, for a lot of business owners, because I know this is just my observation, right? Having conversations with people is they get to the end of the year and their accountant looks at their books and they're like, well, you've had a good year. You need to spend money. So but that's the extent of the conversation, right? There's no detail like you just said. Well, let's do this smart. Let's look at your growth projection for next year and let's invest in things that are coming up next year. Let's not just go buy a jet ski and say it's business related, right? So
right. Well, and if you're going to buy something in December, you want to get what you want, right? You don't want to just buy what they have because you didn't plan ahead. Right. So just doing those things, making sure that you're making payments through the year if you need to, so that you're not having a penalty because you should have been. Just all those things make it easier. And then along the way, if you have all this stuff all put together, it makes it super easy. There's people who have kids who graduate. I have my first senior this year. So FAFSA is top of mind for me. You need a tax return that's ready and easy to get that rolling. If you want to buy or sell a house, there's planning that goes in with that too. And just having your stuff in order so that you can get money from the bank or write your own check, whatever. Hopefully write your own check, right? That'd feel good.
Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, we can talk for hours on this stuff and it's, I joked at the beginning, like it's boring stuff, but I think you nailed it with your rebuttal there to what Sid said. Like, we actually love this stuff because we want to know if we're making money, right? And we truly do. Like but we don't want to do all the work, right? We just want to know the results of what our business is actually doing. So tells the story.
We would love to do the work for you and put it in a package where it's really easy to see and understand and coach you along the way.
Awesome. Sid, I'm going to bring you in. My dog is seeing some deer standing out the window and he's losing his mind. So I'm going to mute myself here for the moment.
Okay, cool. And we're going to wrap it up here in just a couple of minutes. So do you have a bow? That would be Dan Platt would be like, hey, there's a deer out back.
I'll be
My
back.
dog's barking. Right. Let me go put it in my freezer and I'll come right back. Yeah. Oh, shoot. I was just going to ask you a question. So dang it. I really despise it when my mind goes blank. Hold on. It's in here somewhere. Did I get the website correct? BlueSkiesServices.com.
It's yourblueskies.com.
Ooh, I'm going to make a change right now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you can grab a time to meet with me on there if you'd like to. I'd love to hear the story of your business and see how we can help take you to the next level.
Yeah. So hold on. Sid, in technology, I've had a real hard time with technology all day today. I'm going to get this worked out and save. Here we go. I'm almost there. So for years, and this is like the damaging admission. I mean, this is true. When I started with Grit and Hustle, I didn't know anything about business. I just knew how to work hard. And we started making money and my books were a mess, blah, blah, blah. We got that sorted out, but I didn't know what a P&L was for a long time. Like somebody's like, that's profit and loss. I'm like, why is loss in that sentence? I need just profit. And they're like, no, that's not how it works. You need to understand. But we started understanding, the P&L and the value of watching it and paying attention and know where the money is. And then I didn't know what a balance sheet was. And I literally have only recently, like in the last 2 years, started learning like what's a balance sheet. And this year I'm like, hey, we're making money. It's doing great. And somebody's like, you're having trouble with cash flow. And I'm like, how is that possible? Look at my bottom line. I was like, no, you can drive yourself. You can be making money and go out of business because you don't have cash flow. I'm like,
Yep.
all right. I feel ignorant, but how do we watch that? And how do we, I know it's important, but
budgeting is a great first step. Just filling out a budget, knowing what your expenses are. We have a ton of clients who do profit first systems. So they have different bank accounts where they're splitting out their income. If that's helpful to you, we can do that. What we find is a lot of people who are looking for that, who come to Blue Skies, get our reporting and they're like, oh, we didn't need this. What we needed was a report showing us where the money's going. So we can do whatever you need to help you nail down that cash flow. You do get a statement of cash flow every month from us, but then just forecasting and planning for what is coming ahead. That's really what's top of mind for us, is keeping you in data so that you can keep seasonal employees on if you want to through the winter. So you can cover expenses, so you can do that huge Christmas order for lights in July and be ready for, hanging lights or whatever your jam is.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And you guys could see in the background of like in service industries, in different verticals, window cleaning, power washing, whatever, holiday lights and things like that. Like what's a healthy margin for a net margin for a service business? I mean, what's industry norm is good?
I love to see at least 30%, but I mean, that is hard. And I think it really varies depending on what you're doing. If you're targeting for growth, you're going to have less margin because you're investing, right? Yeah. In the same way, there are a lot of people who are just happy being a one-man show because they like that freedom. So it's going to vary a little bit depending on what your goals are.
Sure. What's healthy for, if in the service industry, whether it's window cleaning or power washing, what should percentage of revenue should someone's COGS be?
I like to see 40.
Okay.
It's showing me that you're serious and doing well and scaling.
That's cool. All right.
So, yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm delighted that you're going to be teaching at the Huge, because it's the Huge convention for home services, and our entire purpose and goal is to help people improve their business, grow their business, have a more profitable business. And there are a few things that are as critical to growing your business as knowing your numbers. Sorry, I'm stumbling. I was talking to John earlier. I look like I'm drunk, but I'm not. We froze.
I mean,
I'm dead.
Well, thanks. I look forward to being there. I'm not a speaker. I always say that. I'm a teacher. I just love to share how we can help elevate and add value to everybody around us. And I love to hear your business story. So please come chat with us at the Blue Skies booth. I'll shoot some arrows with you. I would love to talk about what's going on with you and how we could add value.
Fantastic. Janelle, thank you. Thank you for your time. And we'll see you in 3 weeks in Nashville.
Right? Coming fast.
Yeah.
Sounds good. See you soon.
All right. Have a great night. Thank you.